Got to figure out the right feel for that. Let me think about this. That might be it. It might have to be a fast finger picking. Well, it's going to feel weird here. Think about that again. It's Friday, October 2nd, and I'm just kind of messing around with some songs that have been running through my head. I'm going to get to, for some reason, one sort of related to this. Let me think if that, boy, it's a long connection. Okay, let's see. If we're going to try to do an instrumental version of this. Oh boy, I have no nails too. It's been a bad week around here. Need a different feel, huh? That's not doing it. Needs a little more. Let me think. Oh, there we go. Maybe more strumming. Then we could get. That doesn't feel too weird now. Then it can work into that fast picking once in a while. Then it has to mellow out. Wow. Well, anyway, I didn't really have a plan of what I was going to talk about today, but that's kind of cool. That's a lesson that we just put up this week from Max, the Animals. Don't let me be misunderstood, which led me on a whole. Remind me of this one. This morning, I had to put on, let me think about this. Believe it or not, this morning I had on Frijid Pink for some reason. I was just looking through the list of weird things that I had, and I thought House of the Rising Sun popped into my head, and I thought, wow, I can't remember what even the Frijid Pink version sounded like, but it was kind of like that. It was this psychedelic thing. Anyway, and that led me to something I will end today with, because I got another song running through my head. I'm going to forget it. Let me think. Wow, okay. I hope I remember it by the time I get there. What is the big news going on around here? It is bad, smoky bad here again in California, and I should not have been out exercising this morning, but decided it's been a few days, so I had to try something. I will come back and review some of what the other new stuff was this week. That's what I always think about doing a lesson on. For like 15 15 or 20 years here at Totally Guitars, I keep thinking, I gotta do a fingerpicking lesson on some of the cool fingerpicking songs on my Beatles album. And that's one I bring out all the time as like a quick example. You've probably heard me talk about that before with regard to playing, doing instrumental versions of songs that you kind of know. Anyway, and for some reason, the other one, what I ended up doing last week, was George's song. I still am stuck on Can't Buy Me Love. You gotta be kidding. There we go. So I hope some of you enjoyed the look at George Harrison's song, Don't Bother Me. We also had the other new stuff we had this week. Well, I'll talk about next week a little bit later because I kind of want to get into, I want still more suggestions of instrumentals that you guys would like. I teased you with Chattanooga Choo Choo a couple weeks ago. Appreciate the good feedback that might make a good lesson. Last week, I messed around with the Gershwin thing, right? This one might take cuts because I do have Chattanooga Choo Choo written down. I do not have Our Love Is Here to Stay written down, and that might be my weekend project. I'm going to try to maybe get music out of that, and I think I've got it pretty clear in my head now after working on it hard a few times last week, or for a couple of days last week. So that's what we had this week. Max's lesson, we had the George finger-picking tune, Don't Bother Me. And Vanessa brought us another Coldplay tune. Now, this was Til Kingdom Come. That was a request just a few weeks ago, and it was kind of unfortunate that, well, because Vanessa and I had just been talking about other Coldplay tunes that would be good to have in the library here. And we'd sort of settled on the last two that she did, the Warning Sign and whatever the other one was now. But, and like right as she was working on those two, got that request for Til Kingdom Come, and she just decided to jump on it. So, what a sport she is. That was pretty cool. So, anyway, that was it for the new stuff this week. I have a couple things I want to talk about on the forum, in particular the Pathways program. So I'm going to get to that in just a second. Hey, I want to thank our KOA member, Neil Conroy, for having some great suggestions about the Pathways program, and for other KOA members that is now kind of a rolling thing. It got slightly tabled a week or two ago, and the plan, of course, for this is to help you get to where you want to be, like in a year, like even sort of a year calendar. One of my students is always saying, I know you've got a master plan for me someplace down there in the basement with the rats and the mice and other stuff, and I just want to see it someday, because as you may have figured out, especially any of you who have done lessons with me, most of my lessons are pretty much improvised, and it's like every student is a new chance for me to kind of create a path for them according to where they are that day. And sometimes they come back in a week and we change the path completely. And other times they've done everything that I suggested. Well, that never happens, but it could happen. So I have a hypothetical belief in that could happen someday. But in any case, it's just really fun to see what people are working on. For example, let me see, oh man, I may not be able to fake my way through this. Last week, one of my students, one of our old fly on the wall students. I got to get back to the fly on the wall thing once I can have live students back here again. I was working on this. Uh-oh. I need a D. There it is. Okay. There we go. Anyway, kind of coincidentally, the next day somebody else asked about that same song. So now I've got a couple students working on Summer Breeze. And it happened with Early Morning Rain, too. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. But it's funny how songs just kind of like pop out of the woodwork. And a lot of times I'm really thankful that I did lessons on many of these. And so I just run in here and print up whatever they need from all the files and give them a link to the lesson. Most of them are Totally Guitars members, of course, anyway. But so that's been kind of fun. So, okay, coming back, I did mention the Pathways program, and so I have a comment about a question that came up on there that probably only KOA people saw. But we're going to talk about a little practice technique on something that I can't do very well. You should not dabble in this, especially without nails, or with two broken nails. Okay, I'll be back to talk about that in just a minute. So we got a question on the forum about tremolo technique and how to practice it. And I got to tell you a tremolo story that I've probably told before, but it's back when in my 20s, I played a lot of classical guitar and stuff like this. And that are all in terrible shape now, but thankfully a few years ago I brushed up on those, the Venezuelan waltzes, and the choros. Again, it's been a really bad nail week. I've got two shredded nails. Oh, you know what? I think one of them started during the news last Friday. Anyway. Hasn't recovered yet, so I have not really been able to play very much, or even when I did, it was even painful. But I do want to address Neil's question about how to practice tremolo. If you're interested in working on tremolo, I think of a scene from The Wizard of Oz. Don't even go there, because it really is it's a big commitment. And Muriel Anderson had some great suggestions on this, and I think they're in one of our workshops. I have a feeling she talked about this in the workshop at Keith Holland's. Boy, it's Bug City here again, too. Oh, well. Anyway, the idea with tremolo is you have to hit the same note 3 times in a row with your ring finger, your middle finger, and then your index finger. So it sounds like this constant flow. And Muriel had a couple of great suggestions about it, so I hope if somebody could track down that, we could pin down where it is, but it's somewhere in our archives. The first thing she said that's really important is do not practice it on the first string, because it's much easier on the first string, which is the only place I would practice it. But practice it slowly on the second string, with even just like an A minor chord. Gradually speed it up. See, it's getting a little bit better already after just 30 seconds of practicing it. So, and then the song, of course, that is great for this, very difficult, is Recuerdos de la Alhambra. Something like that. Anyway, my tremolo horror story is my song Highway Robbery that I wrote in about 2001, 2000 maybe. It ended up being the last song on El Dorado. And it turned out to be, it's a very long song. It's almost 10 minutes long. And it's a whole little suite of things. So some of you might be familiar with it. If not, I'll get a link to I will put that in the forum post here, of me playing it live one time. And I can pretty much guarantee that was the last time I ever played it. And I believe it was in December of 2001. And it might even been before I recorded it. In any case, I was glad to get finally finish it in the studio and get it and have a live version of it, because as I was writing it, I'm realizing this is going to be like probably the hardest thing I've ever written, because in terms of performing it. And as it went through some of these phases and stuff, and I could hear what the next part I had to work on, like the next act in the ballet almost or something, came to the realization that the next part had to have tremolo in it. And I remember thinking, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I I don't want to have to get my tremolo back in shape to where I can actually do it and feel proud of it or comfortable with it. And there are 2 or 3 times where I've written a song. The other is Cobble Creek. I've probably told you that story before someplace else too. But there was a part coming up that I could tell was just going to be really, really hard. And I remember thinking, if I would practice it for about 15 minutes. And if it didn't show at least measurable, not great, but just measurable improvement, I was going to change it. And never tell anybody that I copped out and decided that I couldn't work on something that hard. And in 15 minutes of working on that with Cobble Creek, it improved about 1/4%, which was really discouraging because that meant it was going to take like hours and hours to get that little part down. And but I did it, and I'm happy with it, especially now looking back and after. Still about 20 years on that. Anyway, same thing happened with Highway Robbery. I could tell this next part had to have tremolo in it, and I haven't seen this video in a long time, but since it'll be in the thread here with this, you'll get a chance to watch it too, and I'll get a chance to watch it. But anyway, that was another one of those times where I thought, okay, if I want to make my mark with this song with Highway Robbery, I gotta just bite the bullet and get it down. So I did. And I practiced for like hundreds and hundreds of years to get it, and it came back after I'd done it 20 years before. So I guess the moral of this story is practice and stay focused and set goals, things like that. And that's part of our Pathways plan. So. Okay, that's it for this. I'll come back with the song that has been running through my head and talk a little bit about next week. That is nothing like the first 8 notes were part of an Andante by Carulli, and Vanessa says she's working on a lesson for that, on a classical guitar lesson, and we'll see. I'm excited to see it because she's told me many times in the past, why do you even play instrumentals? Well, unlike you, I can't sing, so I play instrumentals. So when I asked Vanessa, why do you play instrumentals now? I'm glad and I know she learned classical guitar from her father, I think when she was just a little tyke. So anyway, Vanessa, we're looking forward to your Carulli lesson. Max will be bringing us another sort of, a really popular tune. Wait. The Wind Cries Mary. And I am still debating on something from the Beatles album or my Gershwin thing if I get to that. So I've got about 3 or 4 things partially under construction. Usually for me the biggest part with anything is the writing out of it. So having it down that you have something you can look at. And so both of those are there's always Beatles tunes that are done like that. But my goal for the weekend is to finish up the Gershwin tune and maybe start looking at other tunes from yesterday's news. And then we have a few new packs. We'll have a Coldplay bonus pack, 6-pack, and Beatles Remastered, volumes 1 and 2, if all goes well. Those are both a little bit problematic. Got some things in there. Now, so for some reason, because this morning I had Frijid Pink on and was working on the Animals, which was sort of related because they had, of course, House of the Rising Sun, too. For some reason, this song got in my head. Uh-oh, let me think if I can... dug up a great cover of it. It really had the piano doing this. What piano player does that sound like? I don't know, you can't tell probably from what I'm doing. But the other thing I heard from this guy, the guy that was playing piano in this version of that song, was Tightrope, Magic Mirror, and another recommended thing from a few weeks ago. Man, go away. And that's another one that I'm keeping kind of in the queue of things to do. But what I was trying to do there was get Leon Russell's piano part. That's it. That was, of course, from the Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour that anybody my age or close would remember from the early 70s. Joe Cocker and Rita Coolidge singing Superstar as part of it, I think. And it was the Grease Band, as they called them. So, fabulous tour, great thing, and let's revisit that. Go check out some of the videos from Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and I remember just such an iconic cover, the white cover with Joe kind of etched in the patriotic look and stuff there. So, okay, that is it for what I think I wanted to talk about today, and I might have to pursue. My last thought on that song, The Letter, of course, was I thought we got to have a lesson on this because there have been these two great versions of it over the years. The first was, of course, the Box Tops, and then Joe Cocker did his cover completely differently, just like he did with A Little Help from My Friends, where changed the time, put it in 3/4, Nah, wait a minute. That can't be even the right key. Okay, we'll save that for next week. That is it. Welcome to October.